Okay, I want to talk about timing in the engine a little bit more. So what I was saying, now this is just an oil pump drive that I built years ago. Just welded a nut on top. I can put the socket on my drill and I can run it down on here, and it does not have the cam gear on it. It only has the drive at the bottom for running the oil pump. And in the old days, you know, these cars, this is my 327 out of my 66, for the holding down the distributor was a clamp to a bolt, you know, it goes right here, and it has a clamp like my two fingers with a hole goes around this, and you can dial and change your timing, advancing and retarding your timing all you want. I would suggest making one of these if you have a stored engine so you can cycle oil through it once in a while. Chevy does a little bit different. Instead of a straight out flange, it's kind of encased the little tongue in there inside the tube. Do I still have the distributor here? You know what? I wished I wouldn't have thrown it away. I think I pitched Burn Victim's original distributor. It was sitting here with all the junk. Anyway, but when they came out of electronic ignitions and started doing that kind of stuff, they wanted to do more and more with taking away the ability for the person to need to be able to change any timing, which is nice. Okay, fine. If it's all factory set, great. It doesn't mean it's always the easiest to get it back to that. Like I was explaining, to have to go down, pull a distributor up past its worm gears, and get in there with a long screwdriver to turn the oil pump female part of the tongue, the same as you just saw on this distributor, and get aligned with the worm gear as you're dropping down in there so it seats the distributor all the way, or else it'll sit up high. It'll sit up where you're not seated all the way. But I actually got this puppy running. I'm close enough, but you see what I had to do? I had to clamp it and actually move it off its locator. This should go around the bolt to the distributor. I try and put it on the bolt location. It didn't want to run. So what they've done, they've taken this flange and they've, you know, taken it out like this metal, and then they made a groove in it for the bolt. So the distributor can only go in one way. Well, that sucks because you can't, when your timing's a little bit off, putting an engine together, you can't just dial your distributor back and forth to get it to fire, get it to where it needs to be. But it was running like crap. I've only come back to it getting to running again. The only way I got it running better, I needed to turn my distributor. And I don't trust, this is the light I like a lot. It puts out more than the stick lights, but the magnets, there's one on back and one on the bottom, which is nice, but it's just not as bright, but it does not stay put. It falls all the time. So, pretty sure I've got this worked out. Let me put my timing light clamp on, the negative. I left the battery negative post off last night. I've got my timing light sitting right here to point out the marker. And I guess I should open up the shop door, not be in here with a closed garage running. At least get some of this exhaust out. It's mighty cold this morning. That's high enough. Let's see what we get. Holy cow, look at this, huh? Burn Victim is no longer a burn victim. We're going to have to come up with another name for him. He's back together. I could say I made a paint mark where my timing mark is. And you can see I'm a little bit retarded, but it's cold right now. In fact, before it gets too warm, I don't have a fan in here either. I can't let it run too long. It's working through some bugs. The computer's going to adjust for its temperature. I've pulled it up to about, it's picking up RPM. I'm not doing anything but sit here filming and holding my timing light. It advanced that up to about 4 to 5 degrees. See, now it's way back down again. Retarded. Little changes, it warms up some. We're fighting to keep it running because it's not right yet. I love the old party sound of the old Jeep inline sixes. So I still got to work out that timing to get that to where I can lock it down where it should be and the timing's proper, because it's not really yet. So hey, he's alive again after that horrific start of a burnt engine and the way it looked. This baby's alive again. I've got some lights I got to work out. My gosh, do I really have a full tank, or is that gauge just not working? Look at the oil pressure. Holy crap. I don't think that's reading right too. I don't think I have 85 or over 80 PSI fuel pressure. And I've got a dash light out. I can tell right here it's a little bit darker, dimmer through here. Heater's blowing. Hallelujah! New headlights. I have to do those adjustments when I'm done too. And I am soon to have my third ZJ Grand Cherokee. But I still got bugs to work out. Let me turn it off. Not to mention it only has the coolant I initially put in it, which once the engine runs and circulates and the water pump's running, it's going to pull coolant in there. That means down on my radiator it's going to be a lower level again. I'm going to have to add more into it. So fabulous. I've got a head start. Work out more bugs. Talk to you later. So right side up. How about this, huh? The V8 has a removable section in the bottom of the shroud to be able to get it out. Now nice two-piece shroud. Look at this. I just can easily drop the fan down in there. I set the bottom part of the shroud in. Look at that. Give me access to pulling the fan back out easily and pulling it all out again. Now I just got to run the screws back into those to hold the upper spout and a fan shroud and then put these in. How nice is that? That's why I talk about making it mechanic friendly for yourself at least. So yeah, I got it running even though I showed what I had to do. So getting your oil pump slot for the bottom of the distributor to fit down and the distributor to seat all the way, so then you're clamping it properly. Light's in the way. Because this, once you put the clamp bolt in, if you're on the, the little locator for the bolt, your distributor's only going in one way. Well, to slide into the worm gears of the cam gear and get down seated all the way and actually sliding into the you can rotate the rotor to turn the, but you gotta stay above the cam gear with the distributor pulled up, rotate the rotor a little bit, then start sliding through as it's turning to go down and through the gears of the cam, and then it has to seat into the oil pump. So the thing is, if you've got your crank over here on your timing mark on, you can't see it as good now. I put the shroud in and everything, but if you had that on the mark, you're either going to be 180 degrees out or you're going to be on the mark. So I kind of, obviously, since I had 2 different times redoing this whole dang thing and trying to rotate the oil pump drive, and I tried cranking it, I would put my wrench back on the crank bolt and rotate manually the engine again to bring the timing mark around. And I duped myself twice, got 180 degrees off. So I did finally get it seating down and pointing in this direction close, and I left the clamp bolt out, and I could tell trying to crank it was wanting to start. I was close, and when I rotated it way over here, I had forgot I left my spark plug wires on the wrong location on the cap. If you look at that last video, you'll see one is over here at 5, and that's when I got it running. But the locator for the bolt was way out here because I was able to rotate it out, and I got it running. It was running good. And I'm like, okay, I'm close. So then I realized, oh yeah, duh, forgot to move my wires back to the proper location on the cap. Once I did that, then I could turn the distributor back, put the bolt in the right place, put the clamp on it. It's in there finally proper. proper spark plugs are on the proper cap locations. And I went ahead, I'd picked up, since I was running errands today, some new spark plugs, and I went ahead and put the whole rest of my new wire set on. I don't know if I'm going to worry about putting them in these cute little holders. I don't worry about that too much. These are all new spark plugs. It was running a little bit rough once I got it timing good, even though it was out from its actual clamp down spot, but my wires were jumped over. That's one old secret a hot rodders can do, is you can jump your, you know, if you can only rotate your distributor so much, can't get the timing quite right, you can turn it back and then jump your wires to the next location and shift them all around, and then get your timing right. It's kind of a cheater method, because if anybody else worked on that vehicle and referenced a service manual, and the service manuals are going to reference factory locations and factory places, you could cause someone else a problem. So it's better to go through the effort of, yeah, it takes time, but go through the effort of trying to get timing on the proper marks, distributor in the proper place, and all the proper spark plug wires on the proper locations of the cap. Then it runs. Once, you know, voila. Still an ugly part. The starter's pretty ugly from the burn. Oil filter's pretty ugly. Running it, I could see I have the adapter or the oil filter. These are known to leak. There's new gaskets I can put on that. Those are going to have to get done, because I do have a little bit of oil down there on the ground from it leaking from the little bit it ran. But I'm not going to paint it. I'm not going to worry about that stuff. When I can get a chance to get out and pressure wash this, a lot of this red dust will come off from spray painting. But hey, it's together and she's running. But now, sitting in it, my horns have quit working and my overhead console's gone out. It ain't one thing, it's another, right? So I got to figure out what's going on there. Checked all my fuses, checked my horn fuse inside, everything's good, so excuse me, I don't know if putting the steering column back up I pinched something or not. So I got that problem to work out. But it's almost there. And I wish I could give it a wash, because I got, you know, some of my back wheels are pretty dirty.